I think every one of us has felt special at some moment in their life, or for a certain period of their life. Um, and typically, people grew or grow out of that by the time they're, I don't know, maybe by the time they get into high school or leave high school or something like that, something in that time frame, I would assume. But basically, this preconception that you think that the universe treats you different in one way or another, right? Um, and it took me a while to get out of that mindset. Not to say that maybe I haven't even grown out of that kind of way of thinking yet. But the point being that even I had to come to the conclusion at some point that, you know what, I'm normal as fuck. And yeah, it's kind of a bad thing, I guess, because if you think about it, all of our life, we're kind of, or our life is heavily, or our perception of normal is heavily skewed by, um, you know, people who are not normal. Okay, I kind of explained that very poorly. So think about think about it. Everything you do and all kinds of stuff you consume, for example, media wise, you are probably always heavily influenced by people who are exceptional in their field. Or when you watch something, let's say like you watch YouTube or something, right? Um, then you probably watch content creators who are popular. That's just you can see it on other platforms like Twitch, or for example, where it's very top heavy. So basically, um, most views are generated by people who have a lot of traffic in general, and people who have less traffic, even though they make up a much more significant portion of total content creators. They often tend to not necessarily contribute to overall watch time and stuff, right? So in other words, there are a few people who take the big pieces of the cake, and then there's the rest who kind of has to like get around with the crumbs or whatever. And it's kind of like this is not something unique to that field, obviously, but that's something that is basically present anywhere. Like anything that is of meaning of or significance in the long run, or just in general, is probably influenced by special people in some way or another, right? Like even just normal fucking basic products or whatever are probably, or like inventions and stuff, right? Are probably also obviously made by people who are very smart or very, I don't know what the fuck ever, right? Um, yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate that most of us will never be part of that category. Or, I'm just a normal guy, and if you are watching this video, you're probably that as well. Um, and it's a bit of a tough pill to swallow because, um, to me personally, it kind of feels like you're um, basically trying to win a fight that you cannot win, right? If you try to be, or let me phrase it differently. For a time, I always thought that maybe being special is not something that you're born with, but maybe something you can develop, right? Because even fucking Einstein or whatever, he was probably, I mean, obviously gifted right away, but you don't wake up and think like, oh, actually this is how physics work, and this is how this and that. And again, that applies for most things as well. That you maybe you have like a gift for something, but you still have to put in the work, Or athletes, great example that you know LeBron will always be LeBron, but nevertheless he had to still play fucking basketball to get to the point where he was. So for a time I thought, hey, maybe that's just it, right? Like a nice coping mechanism, I guess, to say, hey, maybe I am special and I haven't discovered it yet, right? That's obviously an easy way to think about it, but most likely that's not how the world works, right? What makes someone special anyway? That's also something I've thought about, that I'm not quite sure what it is. Is it just like a gift for something? Maybe, but probably luck is also a big part of the equation. So I guess you're special when you're just lucky, and in that case, you just happened to be special, I guess. I mean, being born with a special gift for something, that's already like, you could also argue for all things ever. You could argue that it's just a matter of luck. Yes, of course, but I mean, like, in less general terms, that let's say you have a special gift, but is there still, I mean, there's probably still luck in the equation, right? You could be like a great musical artist, for example, and make high quality tracks or whatever, or music that is can be considered to be of high quality, whatever that means, because obviously there's also subjectivity into that, whatever. But, or let's say you're a fucking fat ass, right? You've never done track and field in your life, and then you just happen to stumble across someone who was like, hey, you seem like a pretty fast guy considering your size or whatever. Here, let's just try to get you to be a sprinter or whatever. And then maybe you suddenly realize or discover that, wow, you're actually a fucking decent sprinter. And then, that will also be luck, that it even, got to the point where you can even think of kind of leveraging your talent or whatever. But yeah, I don't know the answer what all of that means, or what being special or not special is means, whatever. Yeah, I am, but I just know that to me it feels fucking frustrating that no matter what I do, I think like I always will end up just being fucking normal. And maybe for some people that's like, yeah, I mean, what's the fucking harm in that? Where's the fucking harm in that? There is no harm in that, obviously, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe I watched too much fucking High School Musical or some shit when I was young, and had like somewhat this impression in my mind that, oh, I just can be special. I just have to, put in the work and do this and do that, and then I will just be a special someone at some point. Yeah, honestly, like, I like to kind of blame Hollywood or whatever, just movies and TV series and stuff in general for that a little bit, because, I think it really skewed my perception that, you had to be special in order for you to be, to over dramatize, to be a little dramatic about it, to have the right to live, right? Because if you're not special, then what are you even contributing to, I don't know, society or whatever, to you, to other people, or to yourself maybe. But yeah, it always just left me with the impression that, oh, I just, I'm special, and I just, have to figure it out, and then everything will be fine, I guess. And Yeah, I wanted to say something, but I can't really remember. So let me just stall and kind of go into that what I just said. Yeah, basically, um, all these fucking movies and TV shows, they always have this kind of, oh, you should chase your dreams and do this and do that, and then at some point you're 18 or 19, 20, like in your early adulthood, and then you suddenly expect, oh, yeah, all this shit we told you about like being special or whatever, yeah, that's fucking bullshit, right? Here's your fucking 9 to 5, and you better work that shit off, and yeah, if you're lucky, you can get like enough money to get by, and yeah, maybe in the future at some point, yeah, just retire at age fucking 80 at that point probably, and excuse me, and yeah, that's like the best you can expect basically. And again, maybe it's or not maybe it's definitely naive of me that I had this preconception until not too long ago, comparatively speaking, that I'm also special in some way or another. But I think it's not just me, because I mean, think about it. You're the person that you will always have the most um, connection to. You will always be the person you understand the most. And it's not even like, okay, sometimes I don't fucking understand myself, to be fair, but you will never understand someone else as much as yourself. You will never be as close to someone as yourself, right? So, of course, considering that, it's kind of like main character bias, basically, right? Or that because you get so much input from yourself, or you, right, obviously, you might come to the conclusion that you must be special, right? That's like, seems like the only logical explanation. Um, and there are also like different, I don't know, for example, that when you that it sometimes feels like the universe is playing a joke on you or something when you do something, and then it's like there is a tiny percentage or a tiny chance that X bad thing is gonna happen, and it would leave me like a total fucking idiot, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and then that thing happens, and you're like, whoa, like I must be like at the, how you say, at the bottom of the joke or something. I must be like, the jokester of the universe, like secretly, probably everyone just laughs at me in secret and thinks, wow, he's so fucking stupid. But I mean, maybe they are, but the point being is like, no one really gives a shit, you know. Another thought is like, hey, remember the last embarrassing thing someone else did, right? And, the kind of point is that, hey, you probably don't fucking remember, but if someone tells you, hey, remember the last embarrassing thing you did, then it's like, you'll probably think of all kinds of things. And bottom line is, you care way more about yourself than other people. And so do others as well. That's perfectly normal, right? But problem is that, to quote like The Incredibles or something, if everyone is special, then no one is, right? So what does that leave us with? Well, it leaves us with a lot of people who probably think they're way more important than they actually are. And that is also me, unfortunately. As much as I would like to deny it, that's kind of the reality of the situation. Um, and yeah, it's just, like I said, I have not yet really accommodated to that thought of, hey, you're probably not gonna be special ever. And obviously, you could make the argument, oh, what is special, and like, um, at the end of the day, everyone is just normal, no matter who it is, right? But I mean, come on, I don't really. I mean, you could make that argument, but it's like I don't know, man. I think there are some people who are pretty fucking special, you know, um, or like quite. Of course, who is special and who is not. Um, that perspective heavily changes from person to person. But you know, I think if you die without the world ever knowing your name, so to speak, it's fair to say that you were indeed not special, and that's the case for pretty much fucking anyone, right? So, um, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of frustrating when you always feel like that no matter what kind of effort you put into something, you will never really excel or whatever anyway. So it's kind of like, okay, what's the point? Like, for example, music. Um, I've never played an instrument before, for example. But I thought about, maybe learning an instrument would be cool, right? Because I don't know, I love listening to music. Wow, such a hot take, I know. But I do love music really a fucking lot, and yeah, it's one of I've already mentioned that I'm a fucking weep, but anime and music, those are like the two things that keep me sane. Um, but the point is, I thought about, hey, maybe I should just start playing an instrument, and then I thought, I mean, I could do that, sure, and I'm not completely opposed against that idea, and maybe I will at some point in the future play an instrument, but I wouldn't bet my money on it because currently I have a lot of free time, even though I don't use it well. Um, Now I'm going on a different tangent, but yeah, that's like another thing with like I mean, you probably can tell at this point, right? But I'm pretty fucking lonely, and yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of free time right now, and I don't even know how to use it, or because I don't really have anyone. I feel like I can really spend that time with. So I'm just kind of doing shit like this, recording myself, watching anime, and going for walks, and just yeah, because I don't really have anyone to share all that free time that I have now with. So I'm actually kind of relieved in a weird way when I'm like my university studies continue again, so I can pick up on something again and don't have to be alone with my thoughts so much, because that's when I have to yeah, have to do videos like this so I don't go fucking crazy. Anyway, what I was gonna say, I thought about, hey, maybe learning instrument is cool, and it's probably cool, but at the same time I'm thinking, there are so many fucking good artists out there, and I have like my selected few of artists that I love absolutely to the death, and like when I listen to their stuff, or just someone I think is like just talented in the field of music, and obviously, or not obviously, but more often than not, they're also very famous or have a decent following, because they're special, right? Which kind of ties into the thing I explained earlier. Mm. And then I thought, like, I will never be as fucking good as they are, Like, even if I start to actually try to, like, learn music, right? Or, like, obviously you could also just play guitar or whatever, but I think, like, I would also maybe, I don't fucking know, but I think I would also like to then maybe create something on my own. But or like you don't even have to make that argument really. It's like even with when you play guitar, right? There are so many guitar players who will always be better than you, and like not even close. It's like they will be much better than you, even if you start to really fucking put in the effort now. Like I said, I have a lot of free time now, but again, once I've got my fucking job or whatever, then my life is probably pretty much over anyway. But that's a different discussion for another time. Definitely want to talk about that as well at some point, about like working culture and how I think that basically just, you know, I mean, it essentially makes us into NPCs in a way. But yeah, the point being that I will never be as fucking good as all these artists out there anyway. So why even bother? Which, like, I know it's quite a toxic mindset to have. But seriously, like, there are some artists that I know I will never ever be even a fraction as good as they are. So why would I fucking bother to put in all this fucking effort and, learn an instrument? Yeah, which is also why I've kind of, why I want to make these kind of videos, because they're so fucking low effort. I mean, I can just literally sit down, talk. I don't have to write a script. I don't have to do literally anything. And I can just talk into the microphone. And, at the end of the day, I don't know if this will ever reach someone, or if it just will be myself who will watch this a few years in the future or whatever. But either way, I don't think I will regret doing this, hopefully. But with other things, when you put in a certain amount of effort, you will want to see results. And chances are you will see results, but especially if you're I'm very critical of myself, and if things don't go the way I want them to go, then I'm also easily to dismiss my hobby or whatever and say, like, what's the fucking point? I'm not good at it, or not good enough, so I might as well stop doing it, Which, again, I know this is not a healthy mindset, but I don't give a fuck about a healthy mindset or like all of this kind of shit. Like, I know this is not how you're supposed to think, but that's just how I think, and I can't fucking stop that way of thinking, even if I try to, which I've tried. But yeah, anyway. The bottom line is, yeah, might as well dip into working culture and stuff as well, now that I've already hinted at it, I think that's also a problem, that just working and everything that has to do with just like a normal job and making a normal living, you are basically forced to become an NPC, which I mean, let's say a 9 to 5 job, right? Which 9 to 5 isn't, like, some people might say, oh, 9 to 5, that's not even that much. I work 80 hours a week, and you just have to change your fucking grind set, bro. You just, like, have you started crypto, bro? Like, but yeah, anyway, the point being, let's say you work 40 hours an hour, 40 hours a week, right? Technically, there is still plenty of time left, but it's not just that. It's also like, I mean, sleeping, obviously, then getting to work, getting from work, getting ready for work, just doing like basic stuff, right? Getting groceries, working out, which not everyone works out, to be fair, but I consider it to be, a lot of people work out, and it's obviously good for you, and I do it too. And yeah, then like cooking, or maybe you don't cook, maybe you, I don't know, get delivery or whatever. Point being, what I'm actually trying to say is that at the end of the day, there's not a lot of free time left. Like, you have maybe like 1 or maybe 2 hours a day that you can use. and at that point you're probably too tired to fucking do anything anyway. And then and then you have the weekend, of course. But come on, like, maybe it's just my preconception, my I don't know, maybe I just think that basically wasting, or not wasting, but spending 5 days a week just so you have 2 days to actually do stuff, it's just not fucking it, bro. Like, that just doesn't seem like a good idea. And I think the system also focuses us to be a lot less creative, for example, because a lot of people, and I can attest to that as well, that like when I have like a busy schedule or stuff to do, I really don't want to do anything anymore, or like, which sounds paradoxical, but you know, when you get shit done and do stuff that you have to do, and you have like an hour left in your day to actually do, maybe like acquire a new skill or something like that, something that will, in the long run, maybe bring you further in life. It doesn't even have to be like a monetary thing, but just, again, doing something that you want to do, learning an instrument, or doing fucking YouTube videos or whatever it is, right? Yeah, but at that point, you're usually not even really in the mood for doing something like that, right? So, yeah, I think that our system, I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, I don't want to be the guy who says like, oh, like, society is so bad, society is doing this and that. But at the end of the day, I think the system we kind of got ourselves into is not exactly helpful in creating, new things, in the sense that, or like, creating people that create new things, or basically just creativity and, all kinds of stuff that relates to that, right? Yeah. And I don't know the fucking answer, Like, some people might say like, oh, you just have to put in the grind, bro, and then you just get rich or whatever. But again, I think that only really works for people who are, special, and who can, who are able to do something special, who have ideas, and who can, maybe actually do some stuff that gets them out of all this, but that doesn't really solve the primary issue, right? The primary issue that you are not special, and I don't know if there is something that solves that, right? Yeah. So we're getting close to the half hour mark. That will be it for now. I felt a little more talkative today than the video I made yesterday, or before yesterday or something. But yeah, I think, yeah, a little bit longer this time. I don't know how long I want to make these videos. But yeah, I hope this was something interesting. Maybe. Probably not, but yeah. Anyway, I hope I didn't waste your time too much. And if I did, then, feel free to leave, or something. I don't know. This is getting weird, bro. Okay. Yeah. I'll see you some other day. Bye.